Good evening and welcome to Driver's Ed tonight. Tonight we are going to be talking about speed and we'll be talking about road rage. And I think we're going to probably start the evening talking about road rage. So we're going to wait till people sign in. So as we've done every class, please make sure that you text me. Let me know that you're here. It's starting to feel like Christmas. I figured I'd stay with Christmas tunes for our introduction for this week. So, I've got a good crowd so far. Looks like 11 people. I did text somebody. They haven't gotten back to me about driving tomorrow. I believe I have an 11 o'clock that's still open. I guess really probably the best thing to do is to have you give me some idea of what you want to do for driving over Christmas break. Of course, Friday's Christmas, so happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, and I hope you have time spent with family. Social distancing, of course. I don't know about Saturday, about driving, but definitely we're going to go all week from 8 o'clock till I'll drive till probably 5. There's not enough of you to have a full day of driving, but I'm going to try to at least do half days with as many people that want to drive. That way we can get a lot done. I don't think I have anything open for Thursday. We'll have to wait and see on that. But for the most part, we'll probably pick things back up on Monday. So please let me know what your availability is. So what are we going to do for... Let me get out of the... Bring this down a little bit. So we're going to bring it down. We're going to be just a little bit behind on what I want to cover. Everything that we have on the midterm will be covered for tomorrow. If you take a look at the sheet, and I'm looking at it right now, tomorrow is supposed to be driving emergencies with midterm. So we're going to push driving emergencies to next Monday. Remember, during the holidays, we do not have class on Thursday. We have it on Monday. So next Monday, we do have class, and we'll probably do driving emergencies, and I'm going to move distracted driving, which we did not cover, to the last week of class. So I'm going to move things around a little bit. But tomorrow we are going to cover parking, and the last half of class will be the midterm. So a lot of people ask me, what do I need to study? The state manual, the sections that I had you do for reading, and to know your numbers. Signs are going to be heavy. So what we covered this week would probably be like 60% of what the midterm is going to be. Sign signals, pavement markings, heavy, heavy, heavy. Some information on HTS, some information on what to do as you get ready to drive, some information on registration and titling, some information on safety equipment. And then, of course, what we're covering tonight. Stopping was last night. Speed is tonight. Road rage, I don't know if there'll be much. There may be a question on road rage, but road rage is more, and let's kind of get into that first. Road rage should be a major part of any driver's ed program, and I wish the state did more in the manual and with textbooks, because besides distracted driving, I think it is the number 2 topic of concern when it comes to learning to drive and to be a better driver. So I want you to take down some notes. Some of this information, even though we may not find it on the midterm, will be useful for you. I find that if we have a better understanding of why we do things, it would be easier to correct bad outcomes. And road rage does lead to bad outcomes. There is nothing positive. There is nothing positive about the way that we behave and act emotionally and physically. It will affect you physically behind the wheel of a car. I will tell you that there isn't a person alive that hasn't driven a car and dealt with other people on the roadway that hasn't been frustrated. So what we're going to be talking about basically is a continuum of frustration. You've probably heard the term breaking point. At what time in your drive will you be pushed to a limit where you act out irrationally? So even though driver's ed is really to teach you laws, rules, techniques, this topic really deals with the psychological aspect of being a driver. It really gets into why we make decisions the way that we do. And if you make bad decisions when you are emotionally unstable, it will lead to tickets, crashes, physical confrontations in parking lots and people's driveways. And you've probably seen stories. Part of what I want you to do for a homework assignment, I don't want to make anything too difficult for tonight, so write this down. Your homework for tonight is to find a road rage article that is local, something that's, something in New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts within the last year or two. And I want you to give me about a paragraph or two, so you can send me the link or, write the link out, print it out if it's an article, and just give me a paragraph or two of why this particular road rage incident happened. And in your opinion, what were some of the steps that they could have done to minimize or alleviate the situation? Put it this way, if anything makes the paper or if anything makes the local news, it's pretty serious. And you're going to live down in infamy. You're driving. So if you're ever part of a story about road rage, I will tell you that it will live with you for the rest of your life. And you don't want that to happen. Let me show you a local, when I said local story, let's take a look at someone that was down on the southern part of the state. This made the local news. So let's take a look at this.
PD tonight, Eller is keeping his license for now.
Well, Tom and Tiffany, the judge thought it would be important for Eller to continue to drive as he looks for work. But it's hard to say what the employment prospects would be for a guy who can't explain why he decided to run someone else off the road.
Police say they've never seen such a blatant case of road rage. Friday morning, 18-year-old Cody Eller appeared in court, charged with felony second-degree assault and vehicular assault. Just a few hours prior, around 4:30 a.m., investigators say he intentionally veered his Ford Fusion into a man on a motorcycle trying to pass him on Windham Road in Pelham.
Mr. Eller admitted to the officers, made some sort of a comment to the effect of he wasn't going to allow the motorcycle to pass him. And that's what he tried to force him off the roadway.
The victim ended up at Parkland Medical Center with a broken leg. The wife of 45-year-old William Hawksley says her husband was riding his Kawasaki from home in Brentwood to work in Lowell. Now he'll need surgery to fix his leg. News 9 caught up with Cody Eller after he bailed out.
I wasn't thinking at all.
Eller spoke briefly, admitting he was as confused as anyone else as to why he did what he did.
I am not a dangerous man. I did not mean to do that, but just my thoughts and my actions just wasn't correct.
Court paperwork indicates Eller sped up and crossed over the double yellow line to hit the bike as Hawksley attempted to pass on the left. A neighbor on 111A apparently witnessed the crash and called 911. While Eller has no explanation for his actions, he does want to apologize.
I'm sorry for what I did, and I did not mean to hurt that guy with any intention.
Mr. Eller does face some serious charges, but he does not have a prior criminal record. His only previous brush with the law was for speeding. Reporting live in Pelham tonight, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
The interesting comment that I thought is that I did not mean to hurt Mr. Eller. Wait a minute here. You took your vehicle and you ran him off the road. You weren't trying to hurt him? What were you trying to do? Scare him? I don't think that would have... Having contact with someone on a motorcycle with a vehicle is not scaring someone. That is to put him on the ground. And the other thing that was really telling about the interview is that he made the comment, I don't know why I did that. And I think that's what we've got to focus on. We've got to focus on, why does that happen? Why does road rage actually happen? So let's kind of get into our PowerPoint here. Don't be a victim. It could change your life. You've got to understand that he's lucky that the person just had a minor injury. What would you do if he did fall, hit his head, didn't have a helmet on, and he was paralyzed? Okay, you just changed a person's life forever. Or if you took a person's life, even though you said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I mean, that's nice, but it doesn't change what happened. People don't think things out. So what I want you to write down in your notes, okay, is that you need to have a buffer zone. So write down you need a 5-second timeout in your head. Like I know when if I'm teaching class in a classroom and I have someone acting out, and it's happened a few times over the years where I'm not having the best of days, and I try not to carry that into class, but everybody's human, and someone is just pushing my buttons about either work that was supposed to be handed in or showing up on time, and I have to give myself a 5-second just pause in my head where I have to tell myself, be careful what you say, be careful what you do, because you can't take back what you say or what you do. And driving is no different. There should be a pause in whatever you do so you have a moment to think about, is this truly what I want to do? Now, I live in Rochester, so these two individuals, and I said find an article. One used a flashlight and the other used an angle grinder, so he must be in construction. So your tool of weapon is whatever you have available to you. And I will tell you this, and I don't think there's anybody in this class that I have to worry about. Believe me, it's been a while since I've had anybody in class that I've really thought would have anger issues and would go off the deep end. But I honestly have to question people that choose to drive with firearms, with knives, with pipes, with bats in your vehicle. Because the minute you put it in your vehicle, what you're telling yourself is, in case I need it, I have it with me. And when you need it, may not be when you really need it. I mean, if someone is taking your life, coming towards you, then by all means protect yourself. But I find a lot of people are actually the aggressor. They're the ones that are moving forward in this confrontation situation to make a situation a lot worse, because a firearm, a knife, a pipe, a bat is a sign of superiority. You're trying to tell people is that you're not going to mess with me. I'm bigger, I'm badder than you are, and I'm going to prove my point. So I'd be extremely careful if you ever have something like that in your vehicle. Here's another situation. This was local too, so you can't use this one. This is one of my favorites because I believe the person that is, I would say, the victim is probably my age. And I will tell you, there is no way you would ever find me doing what this individual is doing to this vehicle, all right? So there was a situation that took place in a parking lot. Apparently, someone maybe banged the car or hit a window or something. It wasn't major, okay? Let me say, it wasn't a major incident, but this is the level that the road rage got to. Watch this.
It's not a movie scene, but real-life road rage. After a fender bender, 65-year-old Richard Kamrowski jumped on the hood of an SUV, attempting to leave the scene. The driver speeding up to 70 miles per hour on the busy Massachusetts Turnpike during rush hour.
He kept going fast, slow, tried to get me to slide off. I wasn't getting off the car.
Kamrowski managed to hang on for miles as an onlooker captured the dangerous highway ride. At one point, you see Kamrowski looking down at his phone, dialing 911 for help.
Kind of like just survival mode.
The driver finally hit the brakes when Good Samaritans blocked him in. One bystander drawing a gun. Police arrested the driver, Mark Fitzgerald, for assault with a dangerous weapon, among other charges.
He took my water bottle out of my car. He smashed my window.
Police also arrested Kamrowski. He's charged with disorderly conduct. Two men on one wild ride that started with a minor crash and ended with major drama.
Okay, you're in your 60s and you're holding on to a hood of a vehicle that's on a turnpike. How long are you going to be able to hold on? Okay, this definitely could have gotten really, really bad. Okay, this is not the way that you act on a fender bender. This is not a way to solve a problem. So let's kind of break things down a little bit, okay? Let's talk about two definitions because I think there is a distinct difference between the two. Write down the word anger or write down the word mad. Everybody at some point in your life will get angry. We get angry almost probably maybe on a daily basis to certain levels. It's a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. Can you actually have those feelings behind the wheel of a car? Absolutely. Why did he just cut me off? Why is he following me too closely? Why did he run that red light? Why doesn't he get off his phone? But we just keep it as a statement. We don't actually start to act out on it. So the difference between anger and mad is completely unrestrained by reason and judgment. You act out on that feeling of anger. So it's another level beyond anger. It's when you're actually getting closer to somebody, following somebody home or to work, beeping your horn, giving someone the finger. All these things are indicators that you've taken your displeasure to the next level. All right. Then there's a point when some of these videos here, they're going beyond being mad. They're actually trying to inflict injury and harm to people. And I just don't know if I have that, switch in my mind. I just don't know whether I could actually ever get to that level where you just lose total reason. Hopefully you won't either. Just to show you that it doesn't happen to everybody, here's a woman. I'm not going to read the whole article, but basically this woman was probably going the speed limit or maybe a little bit slower, and she had her child in the car. Well, apparently someone wasn't happy with the way that she was driving and, flipped her off, sped past her, maybe, rolled down the window, said something to her, and then went down the road. Well, the person that flipped her off, who was really angry with her, later had a driving situation where she probably had like a flat tire, and she was off on the side of the road where her car actually flipped over. And rather than drive by and say, serves you right, your anger, your mood caused, this, so I'm just going to keep on. No, she pulled over and she helped this woman. She didn't let, her feelings of probably being angry, being flipped off, to letting that person suffer on the side of the road, actually went to her aid. So not everybody acts out on anger. And I think your parents have probably told you 2 wrongs don't make a right. So just remember that when you're driving. You're not trying to prove a point. You're not trying to make things worse. What are some of the reasons why people flip off, lose it? A lot of times they're just late, so they're in a bad state. I'm late for work. I'm late for school. Sometimes people don't like slow drivers because they like to drive fast. You're holding up what they want to do. All right. Traffic lights change, and they just didn't see the light change, and they cut you off. They had a red light. They're going through a red light. You had a green, and they almost crashed into you. I think everybody's been tailgated at some point. Sometimes people don't like being passed. I had a video on this. I don't think I have it loaded. Maybe I'll have to show it tomorrow because it's Christmas. I have you've probably seen the show Malcolm in the Middle. Well, they did a thing on Christmas time, taking someone's parking spot in a crowded mall parking lot, and two women from the show get into it, show a little bit of road rage, and I forgot to download it into tonight's program. So maybe I'll show it tomorrow. But when you do get angry, you're waiting for a parking spot, you see someone get into the car, and you're all lined up, you got your signal on, and then a person backs in your direction, which would basically prevent you from getting into that opening. So as they start to back up, some car comes from the opposite direction and slides right into that empty area. Oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But, can't let your feelings get the best of you. Just look for a different parking spot. Oh, there it is. That's the snapshot of what it looks like. So actually what they do is that she opens her car door and she puts a mark in the car door, and the other person kind of gets upset about it. Write down road rage. If you take it to one of the, top levels of a fit of madness, you will probably crash, and you'll use your vehicle as a weapon. You'll bang into another car. If it's in a parking lot, like we saw the guy in the hood, I'm sure they went at it nose to nose in a parking lot for a while. There are tickets involved. In that article or that newscast from Massachusetts, they did stop both vehicles, or stop the vehicle, and the officers gave tickets to both. They both acted unjustly. They both were in the wrong. And in some states like Virginia, I know for sure, Virginia has a situation they can make you do jail time on a Saturday. So it's not something that's, for weeks on end, but they give you a little bit of taste of, of a lockup for like 3 consecutive Saturdays. You've got to spend a weekend in jail, and that's not too much fun, I wouldn't imagine. So there is jail time for just acting out on road rage. Road rage really begins mentally with the way that you perceive things. Have you ever known somebody that doesn't get upset at anything? They're just cool, calm, collected. There really doesn't seem to be anything that would make them flip the switch to acting out when they're behind the wheel. Then there are other people, you'll just look at them the wrong way and, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that? And other people just fly off the handle for no apparent reason. Normally, people that have road rage is preoccupied with what's going on, and they're not really focusing on driving. They're focusing on getting that a person that just cut them off, trying to beep the horn, long and loud. You start thinking about, ways to annoy that other person rather than driving. So it's not solution-based. It's payback. That's what it is. You really want payback. The thing to remember is that when you do get upset, it takes time to overcome. If we were in class, I would put this out, and I'm not going to have you answer this question, but I want you to think about it. How long does it take you to calm down after having a disagreement with somebody? Have you ever held a grudge for a day or two to a family member or a close friend where you just wouldn't talk to them, gave them the cold shoulder? Remember, your personality, your emotions will be carried out onto the roadway. You become an extension as a driver of who you really are. So your true colors. And the nice thing of being a driving instructor is that I have you on your best behavior. that all of you want to please me, that you want to show me that you're ready to go for your driver's license, because you know that I'm the one that has to take the pen and sign the paperwork that says I believe that you are fit to drive independently with no help from a parent or an instructor. So nobody is going to question what I tell them to do, or they're going to take a look at what happens out on the roadway with us, and you're going to act on your best behavior. It's kind of like when the principal walks into the classroom. A teacher may have no control over a classroom, but the minute an authority figure, a principal or the police officer from the school walks in, everybody, sits up straight. Everybody's, looking straight ahead. Nobody's talking. Nobody's on their phone. Okay, things change. Things change. Physically, you're going to be riled. Okay, we had I'm not going to say who, but today we were driving, and it wasn't our fault. It wasn't the driver's fault, but we had a close call in the driver's ed vehicle today. It wasn't road rage. It was just something that took both of us by surprise, because I really didn't see it till it happened. Last second, and I had to grab the wheel. I had to beep the horn because I really thought we were going to get hit. I really honestly thought we were going to get hit today. I thought we were going to have to file an accident report because we were inches away of being hit on the side because someone just pulled out from a stop sign without even seeing us. So it's not road rage, but still, it takes your breath away. It makes your heart beat a little bit faster. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that just happened. When you are involved in something where you know that you're being followed and that people are going to come to where you work or where you go to school, or they start to swerve towards you and they act aggressively on the road, physically, your body is going to change. It is going to make you a little bit concerned, like this is not good. This could go bad really, really quick. So physically, watch out, because it's no fun. It's going to take some time to recover from that. So what I want you to write down, probably more than anything, is let's think about solutions. So we know road rage is a problem. So what can we do? One thing that I don't have it up here, but do not ever, ever, ever get out of your vehicle to go up to another person. Even if you're going to school or going to work and someone is following you into a parking lot, do not leave your vehicle. Call for help. Call a sibling, a parent, a friend. You want their safety in numbers. If you're just driving, if you're familiar with the area, go someplace where you know there are going to be other people, that like a gas station or a parking lot where there are people out and about that will be there to be witness to this and to come to your aid. You could even drive to a police station if you know where it is locally. But don't leave your car, especially if you see them get out of the car and they've got something in their hand, but you're not quite sure what. The other thing is if they pull up side by side with you at a traffic light, don't look at them. Don't engage in eye contact. Do not engage in conversation. What you're trying to do is to bring the situation down. You don't want to escalate it. So sometimes by looking or nodding or rolling your eyes, it just is going to set them off to another level. So think about, and here it's on the slide, that think about, why did it happen? Did you do something that could have contributed to the problem? Did you not use your signal? Did you cut them off? Were you going too slow? And I'm not saying that they're right getting upset at you, but you may know this is what they're really upset about. The other thing, you can't change what has happened. You can only try to make things better. You don't want to make things worse. So think about an outcome that you're going to be happy with, and that's getting help, getting him to leave, getting him to understand you don't want, to break my window. You don't want to, kick my car. The other thing, too, is if they are outside of their vehicle, everybody videotapes everybody. So videotaping is a great source of getting the truth. People can say this is how it happened, but the video won't lie. So get their license plate if they drive away so you can report it. because you don't want people like that out on the road. And if anything bad happens, then you're going to be able to get a plate number, an address, and start filing reports to insurance companies to get any damage that is done to a car. But I think you're going to find on the homework when you do research some of the strange things that people do with road rage. I used to show a video, and I don't have it any longer. The quality is kind of dropped on it because I've shown it so much, and it's kind of old, but believe it or not, there's a person, and this happened in Massachusetts, where he got out of his vehicle and the other person pulled over too. So you got two cars pulled over. An elderly person, close to 60, went to his trunk and took out a bow and arrow. And that was his weapon. He actually took a bow and arrow and took the arrow, and he killed a man that was outside of his vehicle. That was the road rage incident. You're going to find some strange people out on the roadway. It's going to probably make you question why am I getting my license? It's going to be like a battlefield out there with some of the different people that are out there. So we're just trying to give you some things to think about with road rage, understanding how it will affect you mentally and physically, and try not to make the problem worse, trying to make it better. ABC 2020 did a little segment on road rage. So I wanted to end tonight's topic on road rage with this little clip from their program, and you're going to see some of the things that we've just talked about. So we're going to end road rage with this, and then we're going to talk about speed. And basically speed is a sense of road rage. You may not think it, but people that drive, 20, 30 miles above the speed limit, sometimes it's out of frustration and anger, where they're upset at a person and they drive away from a parking lot and they're going faster than they should. So we'll talk about speed after this, but watch this from ABC.
We all have it in us, even if we don't know exactly where it is. A limit, a breaking point, a dark place where civilization ends and animal instinct takes over.
And there may be no faster way to get there than right here, on the roadways of America at the intersection of velocity and violence.
We have 2 victims here.
You've seen the stories leading your local news.
Another case of road rage.
And polluting YouTube. What feels like a daily diet of road rage reports. Just last week, this shocking video of an incident on a California freeway leading to a multi-car crash.
Call 911, Chris.
Nearly half of all drivers surveyed have experienced some form of road rage.
Here in Denver, the Mile High City, drivers have hit new lows.
Local officials reporting deadly traffic crashes have been slowly creeping up for several years.
We know you're fed up. So are we.
We came to see for ourselves. It didn't take long for us to find it. Rocky Mountain Rage.
Golly, that guy. He was like almost in our lane.
You want reasons? Look around. The city's rush hour turns freeways into ant farms. It's a stop-and-go sea of brake lights.
Yeah, it's not moving up there.
What typically should be a 30-minute commute can take nearly an hour and a half, enough to turn any driver into a ticking time bomb.
I was surprised at how bad the traffic is in Denver.
It's heavy, it's crowded, and it's aggressive.
Captain Jeff Goodwin of the Colorado State Patrol is fighting the uphill battle against an army of hot-tempered motorists.
Don't touch me!
There is that group of individuals that get up helter-skelter every morning. They're never on time. So now they're running late and they've got to make up that time. So how do they do it? They do it by pushing people out of the way, cutting them off, changing from the inside left lane all the way to the exit ramp right as they get there.
Goodwin believes he's pinpointed the root of the problem. With more than 100,000 people transplanting to Denver every year, it's as simple as too many metal machines not enough pavement.
I used to think it was something like people cutting you off. But you know, one of the things that people really get angry about, if somebody honks the horn at you because you've sat too long at a light, I think they literally go from the Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde.
Around the country, it's not just gangbangers and street thugs mixing it up. It could be any of us. Take a look at these guys in business attire doing the WWE SmackDown. We showed the good Captain Goodwin some examples of bad behavior, and he provided us some potentially life-saving road rules to help you. Rule number 1, don't make eye contact.
This motorist is out of control. And this victim is doing all the right things.
Just stare ahead, don't engage.
Right. Yeah, the minute you engage, who knows where this goes.
Rule number 2, never approach the window.
All right, wow, okay. This is more than over the top because now you have a gun involved.
So you're gonna pull your gun out? What kind of...
You never know who's packing heat.
Exactly.
Is approaching someone's window ever a good idea?
Never do it.
And most important, rule number 3, you don't always have to win.
Looks like it's gonna be over.
But as we see in this case from Houston, the parties involved just can't help themselves.
And here we go. There you go.
I mean, now they're at full-blown fist fight.
Right, this is what happens. It gets worse. The longer this goes, the worse it's gonna get.
It looks like they just need to win the argument.
That's what it is.
Oh.
It was 4:15 when we hit the road with Goodwin and his team. They prowled the interstate looking for bad behavior.
We're looking for aggressive drivers.
Triggers. Which often lead to the road rage we see on the news.
This is a 75 mile.
Well, we're doing 17 and a 75 at rush hour.
I got a lady who was texting if you want to pull her over.
Within minutes, Goodwin's team has spotted a common breed, a texter at the wheel. Goodwin says distracted driving, the #1 offense that sends drivers into road rage.
And how does that end up leading to road rage?
Well, when she's texting, she's not paying attention to everybody else out here.
Next, we cross paths with a lead-foot speedster, the deadliest kind of aggressive driver.
I could see him in the rearview mirror weaving in and out. He was trying to find that opening.
And that's when people get mad.
Right.
It was now 5:45, the road rage witching hour.
Yeah, we're pulling out.
Goodwin says the peak time for trouble. And the cops had busted this aggressive driver for skipping the off-ramp and blazing her own trail altogether.
Right now, there's a warrant for your arrest.
Her prize? Some new bracelets and a ride in the fast lane to the county clink.
She doesn't have a valid driver's license either, so that's been canceled and denied, so she shouldn't be driving anywhere.
We'd found ourselves at a notorious hotspot.
So this is the frontage road where we have a lot of our issues.
And got a dose of full frontage fury.
So people will be frustrated, they'll come off the frontage road, and then they actually will do this, believe it or not. They will drive here.
Holy cow, this is so steep.
And they will find that steep drop down to the interstate, and they will bounce their way back down into Interstate 25. All because they're angry about sitting in traffic. Off-roading on I-25.
Yeah.
As Friday rush hour traffic mounts once again, we spot this guy who thought he could make up time bypassing all the drivers ahead of him, riding along the road's shoulder. But he's going nowhere fast today.
Go over here.
Hey, sir, do me a favor and stay in your car while we do this business, okay? You passed about 7 or 8 cars going alongside them on the right. You went over the white shoulder. That's not a lane for turning. It's not a lane for passing.
Like many road rogues, this guy's idea of defensive driving is making excuses for his alleged moving violations. He even called 911 to complain about being pulled over.
He stopped me first on the train track with the train coming down the road.
And now that he's caught, he's upset, just is not in agreement at all with what's going on here. So that's his beef.
There goes the guy. There he goes.
Next, check out this blue truck. The driver has jumped the median, passing up other cars, hightailing it the wrong way into oncoming traffic. Captain Goodwin pulls him over, hand on the holster.
What was it? You're not getting in the car.
I haven't seen anybody drive that aggressively in years. He's doing about 90 miles an hour. He damn near hit several cars back there.
I charged him with reckless driving. He just didn't plan on having any law enforcement around to stop him today.
You don't think it's just a Y chromosome thing?
You see a lot of aggressive driving from both sexes.
Everybody drives crazy.
Yeah, it's
So you can see that people's behavior behind the wheel of the car is off the deep end in some places, and it's only getting worse. So hopefully that you will not be part of that group. Now we're going to talk about speed. So we are going to be talking about speed limits and how can we figure out what a speed limit is if we don't have a sign around. So we're going to talk a little bit about the areas and what we're going to find for speed limit. But first I want to show you kind of a humorous video. It's a commercial by Pepsi, and it really kind of brings home how a perception of being in control or not in control of a vehicle in regards to speed. And I'm going to put this question out to all of you, and I want, if you're on YouTube, I want you to put the answer up here so we can all see whether you've been in a situation like this. Have you ever been in a vehicle with somebody that's been driving and they're going fast and you felt uncomfortable? All right, so I want you to put down whether you've been in a car with someone that's been going too fast and you felt uncomfortable. What I want you to understand is that when you finally do get your license and you are with your friends, you are the driver. You are responsible for your friends, meaning that if anything bad happens, you are going to be liable for their injuries. They want to get home. They want to get home safely. Just because you like to go fast and it's your car, you should be listening to the way that your passengers are responding to what you're doing. Hopefully, if you've been in a car, look how many people are saying yes, yes, yes. Look at this. Almost everybody has been in a car with somebody that's going too fast. This is the other question. If I had you in class, and I've been doing this for years. I mean, I've asked this question probably for the last 25, 30 years when we talk about speed. Have you ever been in a vehicle with somebody that's been going 100 miles per hour? Now, as far as I know, in the United States, there is not any state. It does get up around 80, 85 in some places, but there is not a speed limit in the United States. Now, over in Europe, over in the Autobahn, you can go that fast, but there is no place you can legally drive at 100 miles per hour. And I'm almost betting that if you were to answer that question, okay, that you've been in a car with somebody that's been driving that fast. That's kind of scary. Even if you thought the driver had control, what would you do if an animal came out in front of you? What would you do if you had a blowout, another mechanical problem? There's a good chance you're not going to be able to handle the vehicle. You're going to go off the edge of the road. You're going to have a real situation. Even though cars are built, and you know the speedometers, they go well over 100. Why is that? Why do you put a speedometer in a car when we don't have any place to go that fast? It's because it gives you that feeling of control, that if you had to merge onto a highway and get that burst of speed, you can see that needle just spike right up. And to know that you've got a vehicle that can go that fast, you kind of feel a little cocky at times that, I'm driving a car that is super fast. So, and a lot of times people will ask me, do you ever get scared driving with new drivers? Sometimes. So when you see this video, the way that the passenger is reacting, sometimes that's the way I'm kind of feeling inside the car with some of you that are making some turns or going down a hill and you're going a little bit faster than you should. So let me show you this this video. I got a kick out of it when I saw it. I hope you get a kick out of it too.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice and easy. You'll just head on out whenever you're ready.
Are you ready to go ahead and drive? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Oh. Whoa.
That's all right.
Oh, a little more than I'm used to.
Yeah. It's got some power, so just get a feel for it. Okay. Okay, all right. Ease off just a little bit. Ease off.
So I was thinking a little more age on me, some wrinkles, a little dorky, maybe some facial hair. It was somebody that I can pull off a fun prank with. Let's go have some fun. My good friends at Pepsi Max have hooked us up with this cool cam. So these are the glasses cam that show you everything that I see.
How you doing?
Hello. I'm Mike.
Steve, nice to meet you, Mike. I saw you sort of gravitated towards the Camaro. You thinking about getting one?
Oh, no. This way too much car for me.
Well, it's a lot of power, but they designed it to be very safe.
I don't know if I can handle it. I've never driven anything like this before.
Well, I tell you what, I think a way to really make you feel comfortable would be to put you behind the wheel.
You're good.
What are you driving now?
Oh, just a minivan.
Oh, yeah.
What am I
You're not
signing
obligated.
here?
It's just a checkout sheet for a test drive. You're not obligated to anything. It's just so we know who's out. Let's go give it a drive.
I'm getting a little nervous.
No, I'll be right there beside you. There are your keys, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
You'll have to unlock it, Mike.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. What a car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we better buckle up.
Yeah, good call. Power door locks, standard, of course.
You are liable for any damages to the vehicle, so please stop the car, or at least slow down. Slow down. You can't go through that gate, Mike. Stop! I'm gonna get you. Watch it! Watch out! You're gonna wreck this car, and you're liable for it if you wreck it. Mike, stop the car! Stop the car right now! Not up here! Yeah. No, oh my God. Just take us back. Oh, no.
You all right over there, Steve?
Oh, you're an idiot. I'm going to kill you. Oh, stop. Oh, God almighty. Oh, God damn. What the
Yeah!
Who the f*** do you think you are?
What do you mean?
I'm calling the cops.
No, you don't understand. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. No, it's just a prank. We're just having fun. Look, this is a camera. Here's a camera. There's cameras. Look, it was all just fun. Look, I'm Jeff Gordon. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Can we do it again?
Yeah.
I kind of like the expression at the very end when he realizes it was a prank and that he was a race car driver, you want to do it again, because isn't it kind of strange that when he was out there, he was scared for his life. But then when he found out he's trained to do this is what he does every day, all of a sudden his feeling changes a little bit. So when you're driving fast and your friends are kind of nervous, you think, oh, I've got control of the car. I know what I'm doing. I know my car. I know my skill level. That may not be necessarily true, okay? Because like we said, anything can, happen in a car. It's not like this. This was planned out. You could tell by the camera positions and everything. Everybody was in on this except the salesman. So it wasn't a controlled situation. So speed, you got to be careful. There is going to be a tipping point, and you don't want to find yourself on the opposite side where you're not having control. So that leads us to tonight. Is going the speed limit always the safest speed to travel? So we have speed limits because we want people to go certain speeds, and if everybody does the same thing, I think the roads are going to be safer. But we find that people like to go a little bit below the speed limit. We got people that are going a little bit above. Then we got people going way above. It makes it pretty hard to drive when you've got all these people going at different speeds. So ultimately, in a perfect world, we'd all be going the speed limit, all within like a couple miles, not the fluctuation that we see. So who's in control in that video? Definitely Jeff Gordon was. Okay, he knew exactly what he was doing, but you have to understand that speed limits have been put on the side of the road after engineers have thought that this would be the safest speed for the majority of people out on the road, knowing that people are going to go slightly above and slightly below. So I like to look at a safe speed broken down into these two components. Do you have control of the vehicle? So when I say explain, could you make a turn if it was last minute? Could you stop for an animal? Could you stop for a light change? Does it allow you to handle emergencies mechanically, like a flat tire, like an engine that all of a sudden loses power brakes? Could you still bring that car under control? So I think we always have to think in the back of our mind, are we getting to that point with our driving that we're just a little bit beyond what we should be doing? Okay. This is a lot like what we talked about last night with stopping. So anything that has a factor in stopping has a factor in speed. So speed and stopping is like a yin and yang. It's the opposite. So road conditions, curves, slippery conditions, bumpy roads, how well you can see, rain, fog, snow, darkness, intersections, hills, curves, parked vehicles. All these things we've got to be processing as we're going down the road, looking at our speedometer and knowing, okay, I know what the speed limit is. I know what I'm doing. I feel in control. I can handle what I need to do no matter what happens out on the roadway. I like in bold type, the safest speed is the average speed. So a lot of people say, is it okay to go above the speed limit? Technically, no. Technically, the way the law is written, we're not ever supposed to go above the speed limit. But even police cars, if you watch them, are going probably above the speed limit. But we don't want to go that far above, and we don't want to go that far below. That's why I've always given you a little bit of a grace on your speed. But if you do get above 7 or 8 over, you know that I'm usually piping in and saying, okay, look at the speedometer, coast, go a little bit slower. I don't want to create a speed demon in driver's ed with you because your parents aren't going to be happy with me. But I do realize we're going down a hill. I do realize there are situations where we're going to probably be going a little bit faster than normal. Or we may not just know what the speed limit is right now. So you're guessing on the high end rather than on the low end. Other factors that come into play would be suspension, tires, brakes, how you feel, how your body's reacting. Like if you have a back problem, something's wrong with your foot, you've got a sprained ankle, if you're tired, if you're emotional. And of course, alcohol and drugs will always play a part. And as we said earlier, we're talking about maximum speed under normal, ideal conditions. So if it's too foggy, we go slower. If the surface of the road could be slippery, we go slower. All right. So we're always thinking about what is going, if we can't see well, we go slower. So don't think because it's posted at 30, I have to go 30. That's not true. Don't always think that you have to go the speed limit. And I'm trying to get some of you to go below the speed limit, especially in Dover, where we have a lot of lights, a lot of parked cars. I'm a big fan of like 26, 27 miles per hour in town with good following distance. I'm always going a little bit slower than normal. I'm just working my way through Dover, through the city. I'm not trying to maintain perfect speed at 30. It just doesn't make any sense. You're going to be using your brake more in the city than you do on your back roads. So you want that extra distance and time to handle the vehicle. Now we know the police are out there to make sure that our roads are safe. And one of the easiest tickets to hand out is someone speeding, because they've got instruments to measure how fast we're going. There's radar, there's laser. Did you know that they can actually track your speed by aircraft in New Hampshire? Yeah, write that down, aircraft. They can use a plane, and what they do, how this works, is as you travel on a major highway, they don't do it on secondary roads. They only do it on highways. But on the breakdown lane, there's a mark, a painted mark. And as you go past that line, they time your vehicle to the next mark, which could be a half mile, quarter mile, a full mile. And what they would do is they would go to a calculator, and there's an equation from the seconds that it takes you to get to that half mile point. They put in some type of an equation, and they can tell exactly how fast you're going. So there's no way you're going to know that someone's tracking you from above. Now, there are things called radar detectors that people put in their cars so they don't get caught. So we know, at least the police know, that it's a cat and mouse game. You want to go faster and they want to catch you. So they've got the radar and you got the radar detectors. And I don't truly believe in radar detectors. I think they're kind of faulty. They give you a false sense of security about going fast, because the detector will only detect the police officer when the officer has the radar gun on. So if he has the radar gun off and he thinks that you're going too fast, by the time he turns on his gun, you're already locked in. Your radar didn't do you any good. Of course, the radar detector in your car is going crazy, making noises, blinking lights, but by then he's already figured out how fast you're going, and now the blue lights are on, they're coming after you. Let's take a look at, and this, once again, I've got a lot of safety commercials from Australia, but watch the radar that they use.
If you reckon you can get away with speeding, look at this. Police radars are more sophisticated than ever.
He's about 1 kilometre away, this fella.
Watch this. Got him. He had no idea. Here you go. Just slow down, it's not worth it. Over 200 cars with these radars are out day and night. And back in town, the new ProLight lasers can pinpoint a speeding driver in busy traffic and catch him. It's just not worth speeding, because we'll catch you before someone gets hurt.
So look at it, it's pinpoint, even from a motorcycle. It's just a very small device that they can pinpoint. Just like what we talked about running red lights as we saw last night, they do the same thing with speed. They can actually put a camera on your vehicle. It will detect your speed. It takes a picture, and they'll send you the ticket in the mail. So let me show you what they do by a construction zone. They'll actually post it, indicating that you should be going slower.
We've had this van for 2.5 years. They recently, at the beginning of August, just installed better cameras in the front and the rear. They're 12 megapixel cameras now. The old ones used to be 2 megapixels, so the images are way better. There's a lot of criteria that have to be met with the van. The speed limit signs have to say 45 miles an hour, and it's a $375 minimum fine. There have to be the speed photo enforcement signage out here as well that says that there's a photo van out here that's enforcing the speed. And then there has to be construction workers in the area. As you can see, the van is fully marked Illinois State Police photo enforcement van. There's no hiding about it. It's totally marked, okay? On the top there, it's a warning radar up on top. It's not the speed that's the enforcement speed, it's the warning speed. So if they don't see that sign, then they get hit with the other radar, which is the actual enforcement radar. It's not a standalone thing. We can't just set the van out here unmanned and just let it run by itself all day long. We still have to visually observe the vehicles traveling towards the van. With any type of radar system, the first thing we have to do is we have to make a visual observation of a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed coming towards the van. We visually observe that, and we say, hey, that vehicle's traveling faster than it should be. The radar goes ahead and it confirms what our observations were. This one takes a picture of the face of the driver, the front of the car, tells the front camera in so many seconds it's going to be passing by. Shoot a picture of the rear of the vehicle so we can capture the license plate. we actually do a photo review. So what we do is when the company will send us back the images of the vehicles when we were out deploying, they'll actually send us the images back. And what we do is set 2 computers up. We have access to the digital photos on your Illinois driver's license, and we'll take that person's image with their registration information and compare it to the person driving the vehicle. If those 2 pictures match up, we say go ahead and approve the citation and send it out. If they don't match up, if it's somebody else driving the vehicle, we don't send the citations out. There's a huge misconception that we're just out here to make money, that the state police is out here just as a money maker. It's not. We're out here to save the construction workers' lives. 45 is 45. I mean, it's black and white. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you don't want to receive a citation, then stay to the right and do 45, you know.
By the time that a police officer knows that you're going too fast and he pulls you over, walks to your vehicle, asks for your license and registration, goes back, checks it on the computer, writes out the ticket, comes back to your car, it's probably going to take 10 to 15 minutes. So at best, between 4 and 6 tickets he could write in an hour, and that's one right after another. This red light or speeding camera that they have, as quickly as the camera can take another picture to someone that's doing something wrong, they can give out another ticket. They're getting thousands of people doing the wrong thing now with driving. So this is what we're getting to. So you better be aware when you leave New Hampshire, this technology is in other states, and you will be sent by your registration address your ticket if you're breaking laws, running red lights, and going too fast. So just be aware of that. So let's take a look at how a radar actually works. So this is going to kind of break down.
Hi, I'm Bo Babkin. We're coming to you from the Cottonwood Heights Police Department in Utah. The next question is, how does a radar gun work, or how does radar work? There's 2 different types of radar in our world right now, and there are others, but the 2 I'll talk about is, one is regular radar, which is a frequency-based type of radar, and then we have LiDAR, which is laser, which is the acuity of a laser radar gun is pretty close to being perfect. I mean, you can, from many, many hundreds of feet, you can put a laser on the front of a license plate and measure how fast somebody's going, as opposed to the other one I talked about briefly before, and that's the regular radar, or the frequency radar, where it sends out a frequency and it calculates how fast somebody's going. Sometimes, or most of the time, an officer will be standing stationary, and that machine will measure the speed of a vehicle and how fast it's going. There are other situations where we can measure the speed of a vehicle as well when a patrol car or a police car is going in one direction and a car is coming in the other direction. That machine that's being used is measuring the speed of the actual vehicle that's going to measure it and measuring the speed of the vehicle coming towards. So it's really quite a machine, and I know we don't have enough time to really explain all of it, but I know they work very well, one on frequency, one on laser beam, if you will.
So let's talk about what are the speed zones. So we know that the officers want cars to go the speed limit. So you do need to know this for your midterm and for the final, every single one of these. So it's in the manual. You can write it down now. So we're going to take it from the slow speeds to the high speeds. School zones will always be 10 miles below the posted speed limit. So if it's 40, then it goes down to 30, before school and after school. So when does it actually change? And the law states 45 minutes before school opens, 45 minutes after school closes is when the school zone speed comes under effect. Now, the only caveat that I have for you is that Code Drive with Oyster River, it's 20 all the time. The only speed limit I have found, and there's no way they're going to have you go 10 miles per hour. So it's 20 all the time. It's like a school zone all the time. Durham is really different with the speed tables and the speed limit. And by the way, Code Drive only has one speed limit sign, and it's only when you're heading north, not when you're heading south. So when you're heading from the school back into town, you will never see a speed limit sign. The only speed limit is when you're going towards school, going down the hill. 30 miles per hour is a city or urban area. So when you see businesses, when you see homes that are very close together, like a neighborhood, it's 30. Now, it could be lower, but the maximum will be 30. Rural country areas will be 35 or 50. Highways will be minimum of 45, maximum of 65 or 70. So they go up to 70 now. I believe 70 is in the manual. So I've got to change that. And then house trailers, modular homes, only at 45. So here's, in some states, it's up to 85. So I said there aren't any places to go 100, but you could go pretty fast in Texas and Montana and Idaho, places like that. Certain times of the day, they let you go super fast. We just saw in construction zones, and by the way, they said the fine was $375. That's pretty steep. A regular speeding fine is not that high, but you go by a construction zone too fast, they're going to nail you. They're going to get you good. High-speed driving, this is what we have found, that if you're going faster, you're going to have to continually pass people. So you're going to be more at risk of tailgating, and the crashes are going to happen more often. And you're building a habit. Speed is, and some of you, it was kind of interesting when I started you out in a parking lot, you thought, 20 miles per hour was fast. And now I've got you out on the road and we're going 50 miles per hour and you're getting used to it. And now 20, 25 seems slow to you. So once you start to learn to get control of the vehicle, your perception of being out of control changes. So you're able to handle with more accuracy higher speeds, and you do feel a little bit safer. When you double your speed, stopping distance can be sometimes 4 times greater. I don't know if that's going to be that may be a question. Risk of serious injury or death, of course, is going to be higher at 60 than 30. And most cars, as we saw in the crash zone when we talked about seatbelts and airbags, that they're usually testing cars at speeds below 50, probably right around 40, 35 miles per hour, because that's basically when we're seeing most crashes at intersections. You're not seeing it at higher speeds. There's a few on the highway. And of course, you're going to waste fuel and increase wear and tear on your tires, and you're going to tailgate people. So all negative things. There's nothing positive. Well, I guess the positive would be that you're getting to where you're going a little bit sooner, but not as quickly as you think. A lot of people think you're going to really be shaving time off your drive, and that's not the case. But on the flip side, going too slow is just as bad. You make others take risk. People will be tailgating you. And it is against the law. You can actually get a ticket for going too slow. So you're going to be holding up the normal traffic flow, and that's not good. Let's see. All right, let's talk about what to do if you're being stopped. So please write this down. At some point in your life, you're going to see the blue lights behind you, and you're getting pulled over because you've done something wrong. Now, it doesn't have to be speed, but since we're talking about speed, that's why I threw this in here. So the first thing I want you to write down, and please write this down, pull over to the side of the road. There's nothing that's going to make an officer angry at you. Not only is he angry because you broke a law or going too fast, but if you put his well-being at risk, meaning that he has to walk towards your vehicle and he's out on the road too far, he's in an unsafe place, he's not going to be in a good mood. He's not going to be in a good mood. So pull in a driveway, pull in a parking lot, a rest area, go someplace that both of you can, discuss what happened. Second thing, stay calm. Okay, one thing you know for sure, he's pulled you over, but 2, you don't know whether you're getting a ticket. Could be a warning. Remember, an officer, when he pulls you over, he has 3 choices. Because you did something wrong. So he's got to find out why. He's got to find out maybe what type of record that you have. The first thing that he would do, when what you're hoping for, is a verbal warning. Just don't do it again. You're going too fast. You're happy with that. Second thing he could do is give you a written warning. He writes it on a piece of paper, just like a regular ticket, but you don't have a fine to pay. It goes on a computer record so that he knows that people know that you got pulled over and for what. That way, if it happens again, he's going to say, didn't we just pull you over about 2-3 weeks ago for the same thing? That's a written warning. And last thing, and what you really don't want, is to get an actual ticket. That's where you're going to have to go to court, or you're going to have to just pay the fine to send the money along. All right? You don't want to get a ticket. Always stay in the vehicle. Never get out. Keep your hands visible. You want the officer to feel some sense of security as he walks to the vehicle, because if you do something really quick, reach underneath the seat, go for the glove compartment, he may pull a gun on you. He may not like that. So just stay in your seat, hands on the steering wheel so he can see them. He's going to ask for your license and registration. Be smart. Know where they're located. They don't want you to, take forever to do that. Now, this is your own personal, the way you want to approach it. I put down don't lie, cry, or make excuses. If they can find out that you're lying to them, they're not going to be happy. It's going to make things worse. And haven't your parents told you that? I'd rather you tell me the truth than me finding out that you're hiding something or you're lying. I think that should be taken, under the same, code as dealing with a police officer. So how can they tell that you're lying? Because they can follow up like, officer, I'm pregnant. I'm going to the hospital. That's why I'm speeding. Well, if he goes to the hospital and you're not pregnant, he's going to know that. So I always tell the truth. I always tell him, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see what my speed was. I was listening to music, got caught up in the music. Whatever, I'm late for work. So be honest. The other thing is you don't want to bribe an officer. You don't want to make the officer feel like he's not important, that your parents have influence and power. So no matter what you give to me for a ticket, we're going to get out of it because my dad knows the mayor, the police chief or whatever. So I've got connections. Don't make an officer feel that way. Okay. And bribing is with money or other things, don't do any of those things. That's illegal. And some officers will write you up for that. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard stories of officers maybe not and taking part in a bribe, but it's not supposed to happen that way. Be very careful about people going too fast when you're in the car and you're a passenger. Your voice should count. You should have say of what's being done. I'm going to show you a video now, and this is how we're going to end up tonight's topic on speed. I tried to drop the questions that I want you to answer, but I can't. I'm trying to find if I can drop it in. I just don't. Let me see up here. Hold on. I'm going to try to unlock. There's ways that I can unlock this. Let's see if this works now. Nope. Let me try this. Let me try this. This is the lower camera. Nope. There are questions that I want you to answer for this video. So let me go back up here so I can explain it. There's my good camera. I got two cameras, one from the computer. This is my nice camera. It's got a better picture, I think. I'm going to show you a video that talks about high school kids. It was a girl soccer team, and they were having, I think, a special meal or something. They went out as a group. They had a big SUV, so there were a lot of kids in the vehicle. They were having fun. They were acting out in the car, going a little bit too fast, and they lost control of the vehicle, and the vehicle crashed. A few of the girls did not make it. The rest were injured. So I'm going to show you this video, and I have questions that I want you to answer. So I'm going to see if I can maybe send it to you through a text message so you can view it while you watch it. I believe it's about 20, 25 minutes. But I really, it really shows the pain and anguish from the parents' point of view. It shows the first responders, what they had to go through. It was a small community. So it really drove home that you don't have to be a bad person, really, to have bad things happen in a car. So the intent wasn't, of course, for the car to go off the road, but they were going too fast, and someone should have spoken up. So I'm going to show you this, and I want you to answer the question. So it will be on the remote page. So if it doesn't get to you by text message, go to the remote Facebook page, and I will put it on that.
Is that okay? Answer me if you're okay.
Fond du Lac County 911, where's your emergency?
Thought we've been in an accident.
Okay.
We're on Beach House, just out of Camelsport.
Okay. Do you have a better crossroad at all?
Me.
Okay. And how many?
We got 9 girls here.
How many vehicles?
1 vehicle.
Is anybody injured?
We've got 9 people very injured.
Okay. What kind of injuries?
I don't know. I can't hear all of them. We've got a smushed car. I'm unsure how to tell.
Were you involved?
We do need help.
Okay. Were you involved?
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Ma'am?
I was invited to a sleepover with a group of girls that were going to be on the soccer team. We ended up having a good time. First of all, we were painting nails, doing anything girls would do at a sleepover, when we decided that we wanted to go get some food. So we left the house. It was probably around midnight when we left the house. We had also had some toilet paper that we were planning on going to TP with. We ended up at Taco Bell, having a great time. Probably one of the best sleepovers I'd been to, especially since it was a new group of girls that I hadn't known. After Taco Bell, we went to a few different houses, finally chose one that we wanted to TP. TP'd out of fun. Then after TPing, it was time to go home. We were finished. We were on our way back to Katie Berg's house.
I texted Katie as they were on their way home, and she said she told me, yes, got the job done, meaning they were TPing. And then within about 15-20 minutes, but they weren't home yet, and all of a sudden we heard sirens because we don't live too far from the fire station. And then I woke Jim up and I said, the girls are not home yet. They were on their way home and I hear sirens. I need to try and get a hold of Katie. And I tried to get a hold of Katie and there was no answer. And that's when we started to panic. And we went outside and we heard more and more sirens. And then we went down to the fire station and they said there's been a horrific crash. And they were going to set up, and helicopters, Flight for Life was coming in to the high school parking lot.
EMTs, we respond to scenes. We do not ask for this. We are forced into this situation. It affects everybody, not just the people involved. It affects everybody here on the fire scene, ambulance, police, and surrounding community. So every girl that was in that vehicle, we either knew or had either stayed at our house at least one time. So it could have been my daughter, could have been anybody's daughter. All these girls I knew. Some of the girls I couldn't even tell who they were that night with the blood.
I remember waking up in the field and I was looking around and I didn't really know what happened. And I tried to get up, but I couldn't. And then Carly came over to me and I asked her what happened. And she said that we were in a bad car accident. And then I asked her if she could stay by me and she said no, she had to go find the other girls. And then I passed out again. And then I just remember waking up to the EMTs and the ambulance lights.
It was dark and cold, and it was just it was scary. I didn't think anything was wrong. I was fine. I knew I was going to be okay. I was talkative, I was responsive. I didn't think anything was wrong at that point. I just figured everyone had a few injuries, no big deal. And then next thing I knew, I was watching these ambulances pull up and watching these EMTs pull up and pronouncing my friends dead.
Phone rang. It was about 5:23. Didn't have a clue what it was, who
Why
would
were
be
you
calling,
getting a
call so early. Got up, picked up the phone, and it was Mrs. Berg, Bonnie Berg, calling, and she said the girls never made it home.
She was hysterical.
Yeah, I had the phone, but he could hear her hysterical voice through
To the receiver.
that I was holding.
I mean, I was in bed. I jumped out of bed, so you're 10, 15 feet away from me, and I could hear Bonnie through the receiver.
But she said, the girls never made it home. And I said, Bonnie, what do you mean the girls never made it home? They're sleeping over at your house. And then she said
She's talking about sirens and choppers
and she said they never made it home. They went out, they never made it home. And then she's talking about, but I don't know how many times it says, Bonnie, slow down, calm down.
Bonnie, calm down.
Just so I could try to piece together what she was trying to tell me.
And you said, Bonnie, where do we go?
And that's where she says, I don't know. I don't know where anybody is. There's kids going down to Milwaukee. There's kids getting ambulance to Fond du Lac.
Well, that night, Sabrina's brother Nick took her to the gathering of the teammates. They were going to be teammates. They weren't all friends. Some of the girls, actually, that was the first night they met each other. She was excited because she was an underclassman, and the upperclassmen who were friends of her brother invited her to be part of this. So we all told her, you should go. They want you to be part of the team.
Yeah, she was excited to go. I mean, she thought it'd be
Right.
be an idea.
And then the next morning, we got notification because our two boys, Nathan and Nicholas, they had to be at a wrestling tournament, and they had to be up at the high school at 7 o'clock. And then they started texting and calling saying, get a hold of Sabrina right away. There's been an accident with all the soccer girls. So I tried calling her phone. I didn't know who to call because nobody had notified us at that point. Actually, nobody notified us at all that morning. I had to call around. I called hospitals. They couldn't give me anything because of HIPAA. I called Mr. Scannell because I had his number, and he's the one who told me his daughter, that Caitlin, had passed. So I didn't want to call any more parents because that is not what I wanted to hear, but I didn't know who to call.
At 7 o'clock that morning, I received a call from Sabrina's mom, and she knew that I was there. And she asked me if I knew anything about her daughter or how she was. My wife was also an EMT. She was here on the scene that night also. I knew she was dead. I couldn't tell her over the phone that her daughter was dead. The next day, my wife and I went there, and we apologized. We went to the Scannells. We went to all three of the girls that passed.
I remember that when we were traveling down the road, speed was increasing. And then as we had started to go up the hill, we took air, and I remember landing. We were all laughing and screaming, not out of fright, but out of fun. But then the vehicle did a little bounce, and there was dead silence because we swerved right, left, right, left, and hit the ditch and missed the telephone pole. So then we were continuing through the field at a high amount of speed, and I remember the first couple rolls. Then, since I hadn't been buckled, I remember the moment that I hit my head up on top of the roof of the vehicle, and I can still recall the sound exactly of the vehicle. But after that moment of hitting my head, I blacked out, and a while after I woke up on the ground, and nothing felt real. I didn't know what was going on really. I literally felt like I was in a nightmare. It still is a nightmare.
Hello?
Hi there, Kylie?
Yes.
Hi there, this is the 911 center calling.
Do you know my location?
Okay, hold on. Yes, I have you on Beechnut Drive?
Yes, Beechnut Drive.
Okay, hold on one second. I've got officers and multiple ambulances responding, okay? Just
Awesome, that is, thank you.
Okay, I need you to stay on the line with me for 1 second, okay?
Okay. Teresa, honey. Teresa, where are you going?
Okay.
Are you okay, Teresa? Teresa.
Okay, Kylie, you said there's 9 people injured, correct?
9 or 8, I can't remember right now. I think just 8.
Okay, is anybody pinned in?
I don't see anyone pinned in right now, but my car is pretty smushed.
Okay, is anybody unconscious?
One is not responding to me, the rest of them are awake.
And were you involved or did you just come across it?
I was driving.
Okay.
Teresa, are you okay, honey?
You're all teenagers or?
We're all teenagers, yes. I was driving too fast down the road and I got us all into an accident. Here, I see the ambulance. I'm going to get it.
As a crash reconstructionist investigating this crash, we were able to determine the following. In the distance, you'll see the far hill, and then you'll see the closest hill to us, and then behind us is a third hill. So what happens is the vehicle comes over the hill in the distance at a high rate of speed. The road then comes down to the hill, it levels off for a short distance, and then you'll crest the small hill. Now, you're coming over the small hill, again, well in excess of the speed limit. You come down into this knoll where the bike trail is, and then you'll go up the third hill. And when they crest this third hill is where the problem happens. When they come over the small hill and they start to go down, the speed at which they're traveling, it creates the weight of the vehicle is going to come off the springs. So now you're going to lose a little steering. You come down into the hollow, if you will, is the best way I can describe it, or knoll. Now the weight on the vehicle is compressed onto the springs, and so when they come up the third hill, you have that little extra kick that takes the weight off the springs. And at that point, the vehicle, when I say airborne, I don't mean that the vehicle is 5, 10 feet, 15 in the air. What it does is it becomes airborne, and what I mean by that is the tires come off the roadway. And it could be 2 inches, it could be 5 inches, it could be 6 inches. But now the tires have lost contact with the road. So now you've lost all steering. And in essence, what happens is, if it's a matter of the driver just merely inputting a little bit of steering to the left, or if it was caused because the weight of the vehicle came up, now the tires are off, and with that weight, does it just enough turn her? And when the car lands back on the tires aren't straight, they're canted a little bit to the left. So now, of course, the vehicle wants to veer to the left. So at that point, the driver then tries to correct by input steering to the right. Well, she gets it corrected, but now there's a little overcorrection. Now she's got to steer it back to the left. And what happens is you get the serpentine effect. And what I mean by that is left, right, by steering back and forth. But once you lose it, you've lost it. And there's not much steering input that you're going to be able to correct it if you're going that fast. Slower speeds, you can correct it. Faster speeds, once you lose it, you've lost it. So after the vehicle is done serpentining, it now travels into the ditch. And prior to entering the field, there's a large stone. The passenger side of that vehicle strikes the stone. That in turn then causes the vehicle to pitch towards the driver's side. And at that point, it starts its roll over the 350 feet. And during that 350 feet is when occupants then are thrown from the vehicle.
Well, those little hills that you have on the roads that you can go over and it makes your stomach drop, that's what we were going for. And it just, I've been over them before at way slower speeds and they still made my stomach drop.
Everything happened so fast, and nobody told the driver to slow down. We all had a chance to tell them to slow down, and we didn't. The fun was not worth any of this whatsoever.
I broke my back in 3 spots. I lost vision in my left eye. I broke both arms. I had severe lacerations to my head and brain damage.
I still will find myself sitting in class or trying to fall asleep. I'll wake up at 3 in the morning and I'll have flashbacks, and I can still hear the noise of the silence of us girls in the vehicle from when we knew it wasn't right. And I can still hear the sound of the crashing, of the rolling of the vehicle.
The cause of the crash was due to high speed. This was a dangerous road, and to mix the dangerous road with speed is not going to equal anything good. And because of that high speed, every second of my day, my heart aches for the rest of my life, and along with a lot of other people, and all because of one mistake of the high rate of speed. It just, forever, we have to suffer for one moment of what they thought or the driver thought was going to be a thrill, is now we have to suffer.
I don't call it an accident, I call it a crash, because going at such an excessive speed and having this crash occur, that was a deliberate, conscious choice of the driver to go that fast. She put her life, the driver, in jeopardy, and she put every passenger's life in jeopardy. It's just a miracle that there are 6 survivors from that crash, because the excessive speed,
And that they can all
9
walk
of
and
them.
talk to them.
Yes, and that there's no, to me it's a miracle, because if you saw the vehicle, it was terribly, just every window blown out, tires gone. We saw the vehicle months later, because I had to see that vehicle and put my hand on the seat when my daughter took her last breaths.
There's images in my mind from that night that will never go away. They're in there forever. It is something you cannot fathom unless you see it.
As a deputy for 31 years and being involved in crash reconstruction, there seems to be a certain underlying factor in a lot of crashes, and that's speed. And if you're a passenger in a vehicle and you feel that that driver is going too fast, you need to, for your own safety, tell that driver to slow down. I guess my thought is that you have a choice. You can be a continuation of the problems that are on the highway, which is being aggressive, excessive speed, following too close, taking unnecessary risks, being inattentive. Or you can be part of the solution. Drive the speed limit, increase that following distance, be patient, and you have a choice, which you're going to choose.
That is a message I want parents to remind their children every time they walk out the door, to drive responsible. Speed kills.
You can never say it enough.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with repeating it.
And kids have to understand, our young adults have to understand, when they take that wheel, they are responsible for everybody in that vehicle.
There's just so much that can happen, and you could blow a tire out, you could lose a tie rod, brake, you could have something run out ahead of you, a farmer's dog, you could have a child. There's recreational trails that someone could be crossing. There could be another vehicle that's coming towards you and you're losing control, and it's never safe. And because of it, there's 3 lives lost, and there were several injured. And these were lives. This wasn't an event that happened. This was a speed, and you can't move on that easily. And you never get a second chance after that. There's not a second chance. There's one chance there, and it was taken the wrong way, and then as a result that there's.
I guess we don't want anybody else to have to go through this either. It's like, I mean, things happen so fast with kids. I guess sometimes kids figure if they don't say nothing, things will be, you know, maybe they didn't realize how fast she was going, but I mean, maybe someone would have said something, she might have slowed down and all 9 girls would still be here instead of only 6.
And parents, you have to let your kids know that when they start driving, they are responsible for everyone in that vehicle. Whatever happens, whether it's an accident or not, they are responsible for the results of what happens.
Because we got 2 older sons, and we always tell them that. I mean, that's so tough because Sabrina didn't drive, so we just hope that when she was with somebody, well, that was the first time she was with older girls. Just kind of assumed every parent told their kids the same thing, you know. Because, yeah, you're responsible for their safety.
And if your child feels that they're not in a safe situation, you know, tell them to call home, tell them to, you know, give you a call to come pick them up, because I'd rather see them, and I'm sure you would rather see them be in a safe vehicle than having to get in a car that they don't feel safe in.
That car went 800 and some feet from the time it left the road. I think it rolled 5 times or 6 times. The speed thing is a major thing. We need to slow down. Kids need to slow down. Like I said, maybe kids should see some of these pictures of these kids that are killed rather than hiding it from them. You know, maybe if you'd see the blood, maybe if you'd see the head that was split open, maybe if you'd see some of this stuff, you guys would remember what the heck's going on. But they don't have a clue. They forget. They think they're invincible. They think that nothing's going to happen to them.
I am very fortunate that I am still here, but speed does kill. Clearly, it is seen that I don't have 3 great friends of mine, and I never will have them back, and I would do anything to have them back in a heartbeat, but speed kills. If I could turn the clock back, I would in a heartbeat. Wouldn't be an option. I would do anything to have those 3 girls back here with me. Do anything to not have to go through what I do on a daily basis, and to not have seen what I saw, and I would turn the clock back if I could and say something, slow down, anything.
After going through this experience, I think it's important for people to follow the speed limits because there's a reason they're there, and it's for your safety. And if you ever are going above the speed limit where you're uncomfortable, or somebody else is, that you should really just tell them to stop before anything bad happens where you can't go back.
Don't be scared to speak up. It doesn't make you a wimp. It doesn't make you a bad kid for saying slow down. It would have saved some lives if I would have done it. And I would give anything, like I said, to go back and say slow down, please.
I love taking pictures, and my daughter Katie loved being in them, so the 2 of us together, it was a lot of fun. And this picture frame here represents all the pictures that Katie will never be in as a result of the high-speed crash. This would have been a picture of her with her friends playing soccer, and a picture of her at her junior prom, and a picture of her doing a powder puff game in school with the girls, and a picture of her graduating her senior year, and a picture of us going with her to different colleges, looking at where she's going to go, and a picture of us going to Germany to see her brother over there, vacation. There's so many pictures that are not here that would have been if it wasn't because of this speed that killed her.
We were just all having fun and didn't think anything bad was going to happen. Nobody ever thinks anything bad's going to happen.
This is a difficult case. You've got the lives of 3 promising young women that are gone. You can't bring them back. It was just a horrific scene with these girls, one dead, some dying, all or most very seriously injured. I really don't care a whole lot whose idea it was or whether they were egging her on to do that. I just don't give anybody a break for peer pressure. I never have. The bottom line is whether it was her idea or one of the other girls or whatever, she was driving the car. She was responsible for the safety of the other girls.
That night, it was just a bunch of girls having fun. We were at Katie's house, and we were painting each other's nails, and then we decided to go to Taco Bell, and then we TP'd a friend's house, and I just remember everyone having a blast and having a smile on their face, and we couldn't stop laughing. And even in the car up to the last second, I just remember hearing laughs.
We're all teenagers, yes. I was driving too fast down the road and I got us all into an accident.
So the question is, as we saw in that last few moments there, what came of the person that was the driver, a year in jail? And that's part of sent the questions out. If you didn't get it through a text message, just let me know. I tried to get it out to you so you could kind of look at the questions while the video is going. I don't want to be a downer, especially because it's Christmas, but this is a serious matter, and it just happened to come up on the curriculum calendar of what we got to cover. But it's one of the more powerful videos that I have seen when it comes to speed. And I have seen a lot over the years that I've been teaching. Different people have come and spoke to conferences. This is one of the best that I have seen. It really covered the impact of how to deal with peer pressure, how do the families cope with this, and the EMTs. So hopefully you got something out of this. I hope you realize that once you do become a licensed driver, this is now going to be a choice that you're going to have to make, is how are you going to respond to the need of your friends to get places quickly, to do what you know in your heart is not right. And the same thing with road rage, is that you've got to come to a place in your head where you say, this just isn't right, and I've got to make some changes. So hopefully that was helpful. Please do those questions. That's part of your homework. And the other homework, remember, is the road rage. Find an article done within the last year around here locally in New England about road rage, and just give me a reaction paragraph or two about what could have been done. So you got to study for tomorrow. I think it's around 70 questions. We're going to talk about parking first. After the parking, then I'm going to release you. So it's not going to be a long class tomorrow. I'm probably going to say it's going to be about 45 minutes to a little less than an hour of content with parking, and then the remainder of your time will be for the midterm. But I do want the midterm done tomorrow. So I know that we're missing a couple people right now. So you got to remember, this is a pass-fail class. So hopefully you're doing your work, because I'm missing some stuff from people. And let me know when you can drive. I do, like I said, I do have an opening tomorrow for 10 and 11 and 12, if anybody wants to drive. So I'll look at my texts and see if we've got somebody. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll have class, and then we'll get ready for driving for next week. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks for holding on and hanging in there. Let's see what what we've covered so far tomorrow. So good luck on the midterm. So study hard. Have a good night. Bye.